Hello, my friends. Surprise, we're going live just spontaneously, kind of because I'm about to start working on some projects and I don't want to show you a messy craft room because I had mentioned that over the holidays, I had spent some time reorganizing my designer series paper, and I just threw out there, would you guys like to see my craft room? And it turns out a lot of you do, which is exciting. My craft room is probably my favorite place in my whole house. I spend a ton of time here, as you can imagine. And yeah, it's just fun to like show you more than just my hands, because you usually just get to see my hands. So as you're tuning in, please say hello. My name is Lindsay. I am from Canada and I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator almost 23 years. I love crafting. It is something that I spend a lot of time doing. So having a craft room that sort of meets my needs was important to me. My husband and I moved about 5 years ago. We downsized and moved closer to his work. And the joy of that was it came with like a very, very beautiful space that I could turn into my craft room. So I was thrilled to be able to take on this space. My craft room has evolved a lot over the last 23 years. I used to have a 24-person studio in my basement that's where I taught all my classes. But when 2020 hit, I didn't actually know if I'd ever do things in person again. And so I when we bought this house, I wasn't really thinking about a classroom, but I was thinking about my studio. So now I do teach classes in my house. I kind of do it. You'll see here in my studio, I've got a spot where if it's just a small class, people can gather around the table in here, or I like sort of rearrange my house to make it work. Hello, friends. Say hello as you tune in. I love seeing who's saying hi. And of course, if you're watching the replay, you can do that too. So I want to know, first of all, are you lucky enough to have a space in your house that you can dedicate to your passion, like crafting or painting or sculpting or whatever your crafty passion is? I know this is a privilege to have this kind of space. I am an empty nester. My kids have grown, and so we don't have to like have a playroom or anything anymore. So even though my house is fairly small, it is big enough for me to have this space. What I love about this space is that it's upstairs, and so I can have lots of light, and I just sort of feel part of the action if I'm doing any work while my partner is home. But yeah, I'll walk you around and I'll kind of show you how to have things set up. I have not like reorganized this for this video. So you're going to see like some piles of things, and you know, it's real life. This is how I really live and work and use my studio. So I thought instead of trying to make it look absolutely perfect, and to me it is perfect, but it's not a showroom, right? Like it is where I actively work and craft. So I thought I would just make sure that you could see what that looks like, and maybe it'll give you some ideas. Hello, Corrine, good to see you. Okay, so I'm gonna like turn my camera around so you can see things, and let's see what we can show you here. Okay. So first of all, you can see this is my backyard. Yes, I live in a snowy and cold place, but it actually is warming up today, which is kind of nice. But I love that I've got this backyard entrance. The dogs in the summer like to go lay out there and sun themselves, which is really fun. And I'm just going to hand hold my camera here. So if it's not perfect, you'll see why. Okay. So first of all, I'll show you how I store all of my stamps. So here you can see we've got all of the stamps, and I have put all the dies with it. It just makes it easier to find them. And of course, this is our old style of stamps and dies. And so we're now moving over to the new style, which is much flatter. So you can see before it was like a DVD size case, and here you can see they're much thinner. So these are all my new stamps right here. There's a lot of new stamps and dies together there. It's just once I start to evolve more to here, I'll rearrange things so that those will come over here. But for now, I still have lots of the old style. And so if you'll notice, there's like red dots or yellow dots. That's how I try to keep in mind what has retired and what is on the last chance list. It just makes it so that when I'm doing videos for you guys, I'm sort of current with what I want to share with you. And you can see by the red that there are things that I like to keep just because I really love them. I also teach classes at the City of Edmonton, and so I don't necessarily have to have product that's like current for those classes. So if I have doubles of something, I might keep those in my collection for that. As we move down, you'll see that I've got sort of ongoing projects here. And these are some of my older stamps that are retired and fun. And then down here, we've just got tools and things that are set up for classes. I use bins a lot for sorting out my projects. And then I have a goal to learn how to watercolor. So that pile there is watercoloring. And then I have my extra paper cutter and my tools like my Simply Scored tool. These are bins that hold cards that I like or that I'm going to be donating to somebody. I do try to keep those organized. So recently I redid my designer series paper. That's what I was talking to you guys about when you all started asking to see my craft room. And so I just got those off of Amazon. They're not very expensive, and they're also not like super hardcore, but they're like plastic foam core, and it works really nicely for keeping the designer series paper separated. This is where all my like specialty paper, like foils and glitter and that kind of thing, that all goes there. And then in these bins, I have sort of class supplies like my stamp and seal, and I've got extra scissors, and I've got product that's coming up for classes, and I have stamp and positioning tools. And these are all my ephemera packs, which I store them in my DVD cases just to keep them separate. So once I've opened them, then the little pieces don't fall out everywhere, which is kind of nice. Here's where I work. So like I said, it's not perfect, but I just love that I can look outside and have so much light. Here you can see these are all cards that I've made and that I like and will give, because I do actually give cards. That's my station where I do photography. I try to have a spot always kind of clean and ready to go. And then it's just a little bit faster for like throwing a card on and getting a photo. And the natural light is really, really helpful. I actually find I usually turn off my overhead lights so that I don't get like the warmer glow, because I like it a little bit cooler. Okay, this station here needs work. Maybe you guys have advice, but I need to go through and like separate out old receipts and things. That's not my strength. This is like my scrapbooking stuff right now. And I have some old photos that I need to scan for my mom, but these are like all my 12 by 12 scrapbook workshop kits. So I'm looking for help with that. My die cutting station. So this is where I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You can see I've had projects on the go. And then in these here, this is actually really, really helpful because I have so much light. These are just hanging file folders that hold all of my paper. And so what I really love about this is that any of my cut paper just goes into, I try to throw it into the front of each of it so I know where the little scrappies are, and then I can just pull from cut paper anytime I need that. So I've got neutrals and subtles here, and I have my, what are they called? Brights and Regals. And then over here, I have my in colors and some of my, like more specialty, like watercolor paper and that kind of thing. I still love shimmery white. I can't get rid of it. And down here is just more like childhood paraphernalia. And here we've got all sorts of like knickknacks and tools, like, just things that are, would keep an office running sort of thing. Yeah, and then this is, if you know me, you've heard me talk about this before. I watch a ton of terrible TV while I'm working. your pal has ADHD, and so I just find that I always need like multiple things to keep me going, especially when I'm cutting paper and stuff. It's like on in the background, and it just makes it a lot easier for me to get through working. So yeah, I watch a ton of TV in here. It's very fun for me. I invested in this TV maybe a year or two ago, and I really, really enjoy it. So it's fun because for my classes, I can put up my schedules and things too. Okay, so this is what prompted this discussion is this here. I was having trouble with my kids piling up behind my door. It was like where I was throwing things that I didn't know what to do with. Hopefully this is resonating with you. Maybe you guys are like, man, she's messy. I really, really try to, to keep that under control. So anyway, I really hated that these were piling up, and I felt like I was having a hard time finding things. So this Billy bookcase is from IKEA, but it actually has been like part of my household for, I don't know, probably 15 years. But we didn't have a place for it in this house, and so it was just hanging out in the garage. And so one day I kind of got fed up, and I reorganized the garage, and then I brought this in here. And poor Bruce got home, and he was like, you dragged this in all by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'm very strong. So all my kits go here, paper pumpkin, and then my 2 sets of kits. And then you can see I've got 2 setups here for my 12 by 12 paper. And what I like to do, again, I like to keep all my scraps with things so that if I'm like, oh, I want to use that paper, then I know that I've got little pieces that I can pull. So I just use bull clips to hold the little pieces together. And I try to keep the backings with the paper now so that I know what the names of the paper are. Because again, I struggle to remember the names of things. And so this just keeps it a little easier for as things retire and I want to sell them and so on. This is all my two-tone 12 by 12 cardstock. And then this here is my 6 by 6 designer series paper. And then classroom things that I can pull out and take to my kitchen table. Here you can see I've got boxes for mostly for envelopes. And then I like to keep designs of cards that people have given me or that I've made in the past. I like to keep them because if I'm ever struggling for something, I can kind of go back and look. And then my family friend, I call her my aunt, she does the most amazing bags for the Legion. She does like Christmas bags. And so she loves all of my old Christmas cards, just the card fronts to use to decorate the bag. So I save all those for her over the year. Yeah, so I kind of keep things going there. Those are just empty boxes, but you know, you can never get rid of a good box. Then I've got wrapping paper down here. This is where my little apron is. Here in this bin, here I'll just kind of give you an overview. So when you see me do videos, I'm actually working right here at the counter. The cabinets are all from IKEA, and they are incredible. Like, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate these cabinets. I've actually transported them from like one house to another because I know for a lot of people, like a kitchen in their office is not going to make sense. So I was like, oh, they're probably just going to throw them away. And it was like, I moved here in 2021 when you couldn't get anything, everything was out of stock. So I just brought them all out, repainted my old office, and then used them here. So I was really thrilled that I could kind of keep a similar setup. So this here, this pantry is where I store all of my like designer series paper that I have extra of because I go through so much white and so much vanilla and all of those things. You can see it's not all super organized. This is like all my packaging stuff for putting kits in the mail. Again, more extra cardstock. I know it looks excessive, but I actually go through this pretty quickly. Okay, so I'll kind of like, if you walked in my office, this is what it looks like. So this is where, if I'm just doing a small class, I'll just do 4 people around this little table here. This tea setup works so nicely for me. And then, yeah, the kitchen counter. So I am a stand to stamp person. I don't sit very often in my life. Again, ADHD. So I like to stand. I like to be able to move around. I also really like things to be visible because I forget about things that are behind cabinets. So I just like really tried to keep things the same over the years and memorize what's in each drawer so that I don't have to keep everything out all the time. But you'll notice there's like kind of an excessive amount of stuff out. This just makes me happy. I just think old vintage things are kind of fun. And, you know, I love pool parties. You can see there's like pool party-esque kind of things around the room. But this just kind of, if you look closely at it, I don't know if this is distracting in videos or not. You can tell me. I probably won't change it, but if you like it, let me know. But this just kind of shows like a lot of my personality. It just makes me very, very happy. So I love Mary Poppins. I love Disney. You can see there's a couple of girls' trips I've gone on to Disney recently. So my friend Kelly gave me this. I love Mary Poppins. I love birds. I'm trained as a conservation biologist. And so I think birds are very cool. I can identify a lot of them. You know, my beautiful London, she's there. A note from my friend Cindy. You can see we've got more Disney paraphernalia. I'm a big fan of Hawaii, partly because my friend Cindy lives there, so I get to go visit her and spend time. Just a little thing that I made back in the shabby chic days. This was actually a gift from Shelley Gardner, and so was that, who, when I was on the advisory board back in the day, you know, there were some gifts involved. My daughter, Emily, she just graduated from conservation biology, so my same degree, and she created this patch for her class, and I just thought that was so lovely. This is from Founders Circle. They used to hang our name on the door. I just think this is such a great, you know, inspiring thing to look at on days when I'm feeling like maybe it's a little harder than I want it to. My daughter found me this button at a vintage store, which London is my dog. I used to work with service dogs, and so this was one of my girls. This was Cordy. She's working now with the Lethbridge police force. I like to keep this up so when I'm talking to you guys, I know classes are coming up. Some handwriting from my dad. This is the very first time that I met my pal Meg Loven. We were walking across stage together. Funny story with that. Yeah, my little girls when they were just so little and now they're not. You know, my friend's wedding. I love Frenchies because of little Rem Rem. One of my girls' trips that I went on, we ran into a major storm, and it was really funny because we just were like having such a fun time together, even though the weather was absolutely miserable. My friend Missy made me that. Yeah, I work for the city. So, okay, you can see I've got some of my embellishments. There's my little toolkit. I've got my like grab and go ink pads, grab and go tools. This is like needing some work. I don't know. Here we've got the things that I grab for all the time, dimensionals, mini glue dots, and my seal. Okay, so over here, I got all of this before Stampin' Up! Came out with their organizers. And so, no, it is not Stampin' Up!, but it works really well for me, and it was expensive, so I'm not replacing it. If you live in Canada, would not recommend because it was very expensive and US dollars, and I'm sure that there's tariffs now. So stick to the Stampin' Up! Ones. But for me, it works really, really well. I love that it keeps my ink pads, my ink refills, my markers, and my blends together so that I always have access right at my fingertips. And this is just like ongoing stuff. This is like the crafter's dilemma, don't you find? So my friend brought me coffee the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a pool party tray. Why am I holding onto this piece of garbage? I had a vision of like putting little coffee cups that I've decorated in here with like decorating it for Easter and then giving it to somebody. Do you guys have this issue where you just see things and you're like, I need to keep this? I'll give it a week. If I haven't come up with something in a week, then we might just have to let it go. But anyway, I'm sure you can relate. Please tell me you can relate. Yeah, this is like the bane of my existence is class kits that are left over. I always have to over prepare because there might be a piece that somebody has made a mistake on, or they don't want, or somebody might not show at the last minute, and I always need one to demo with, but then I always end up with extra ones and I never know what to do with it. So maybe you have a solution for me on that too. Okay. You can see this is where little Remington, my little Remy, my Frenchie, he likes to sit here and look outside. It's like his favorite thing in the world. So I always have a little bed for him so that he can hang out there. He was being super naughty this morning and trying to eat his toys. So he's having a timeout right now, but that's where he often sits. Yeah, so kind of like the overview one more time. You can see how this all comes together. But yeah. Oh, and then you're probably wondering what's in the drawers. Okay, do I want to open these all? I don't know. I haven't looked at all. So this one I actually did reorganize. So again, extra tools, just like some Stampin' Up! Demonstrator stuff. Trying to keep things organized. This is where I keep extra adhesives. This is where all my punches go. This is how I know the IKEA drawers are incredible, because look at how many punches are in there. So I keep like my neutral punches, my semi-neutral punches, and then my decorative punches. Yeah, and these drawers have held those punches for 15 years, and they've always been amazing. Here we've got extras of, yeah, this is embarrassing, kind of like my foam mats, and I have multiples of things because of the classes I teach. So if you're like, why does she have so many? These are all extra ink refills, sponge daubers. These are like my technique kind of things, and extra adhesive. Again, I supply adhesive in my classes, so I always need to have stuff on the go. This is like, oh, this is embarrassing. You guys, I shouldn't be showing you this. This is like, well, you can see tape, sanding blocks, blah, blah, blah. These are all my blocks. Again, I teach classes. I have multiple projects that I'm prepping at a time, so I always need to have multiple clear blocks. This is all my embossing stuff. This is just overflow. Here we've got ribbons. I did try to keep these a little more organized with where they come from. Helps me remember. These are my extra embellishments, things that I give as gifts and that I use in classes. This one here, yeah. Whenever I break apart a kit or I use up a paper pumpkin, I've got all these ink spots. So sometimes I gift them. Sometimes I save them, apparently. And then these are the dies that sort of are standalone, and these are all my embossing folders. This drawer is like my junk drawer, so it's like tools and things. And then this is my garbage. Oh, look at, see, this is the toy he was eating this morning, little rotter. So I have my recycling and my garbage that just slides out, which is super helpful. So anyway, I'm going to just flip you around one more time so we can say hi. Okay, hi. There you go. That's my craft space in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask about that? It was kind of well, it was real, right? It was real. I do try to keep things pretty tidy. I've gotten in the habit over the years of like, when I make a project, I put everything away and then I start the next project. It just makes it so that I'm not like feeling overwhelmed by the things. I think that's one thing that crafters struggle with a lot is the organization. So hopefully I've given you some tips. And if you have a tip, feel free to leave it in the comments, because we could all benefit from knowing how is the best way to organize our space. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tour. Yeah, I'd love to see your spaces. Feel free to send me a photo if you have questions, or you want to show me what you're proud of, or if you want to say, hey, how should I deal with this? Okay, I'm going to get back to work. I have some creating to do for a blog hop. I hope you have an amazing week. It's Monday, right? Yeah, have an amazing week. Okay, bye.